back to my channel. If this is the first time you're seeing any of my videos, my name is Wandunji. In this video, I am going to be talking about a tool that is used for scene construction that has been so confusing for me. I'm sure I'm not the only person who has found this to be confusing. I'm talking about internal and external motivation/goals and how understanding them with regards to character development can help make a scene compelling. But before we even continue, if you have not yet subscribe. Part of the reason why I got so confused is because I went online and downloaded a bunch of forms to help me in my scene construction and in my character development, which is such a great thing. It's such a great thing to have all these different people providing us with resources that we can use to help us as we write our books. But for me, instead, it became just a source of confusion. Because we all know that a character has an internal life and an external life. But some of the forms would have goals. So there would be an internal goal and an external goal, which is fine. But then there was some that had motivation, an internal and external motivation. Then I came across this word, extrinsic and intrinsic. Is intrinsic internal and extrinsic external? And what about motivation and goal? How did those relate to one another? And why wasn't it sufficient to just find the motivation? Internal motivation, extrinsic, oh my God. So I wasn't helping myself very much with all of these forms and all this confusion. And it would have really helped for me to start at the beginning. Let's have a look at what Google has to say about the definitions of these words, motivation and goal. Motivation is the reasons one has for acting a certain way. And they also use these synonyms, incentive, provocation, inspiration. And as for goal, it is the object of a person's ambition / desired end result. That would have helped me a little bit as I filled out these forms, but I'd already put myself in a state of confusion and could not for the life of me figure out what was happening with these two words. I read a series of articles from a gentleman called Michael Haig who runs a website called storymastery.com. These collection of articles together are called What Does Your Hero Want?, where he talks about external and internal and a bunch of other stuff. I will leave a link in the description box below. Please go and check it out. It was very helpful for me to read this information. And granted, he's talking about scripts and not novels, but I found this information to be relevant even for those of us who are writing novels. It can be really confusing when you say an outer goal and an inner motivation. It's as though there should be an outer goal and an inner goal, an outer motivation and an inner motivation. But a goal is always external. Motivation is always internal. And I think that is what confused me about it the most, because I was looking for opposites. So anyway, let's get into the breakdown of what these different things are. The goals and the motivation. So a goal could be to win something, to escape from something, to stop, or to retrieve. A motivation could be risk being yourself, risk doing what is right, connecting with other people. A goal is typically one that happens right at the beginning of the story, right after the inciting event. The hero or the protagonist of the story decides to do something. The motivation, the inner life of the character, develops over the course of the story. At its primal level, a goal is a want and a motivation is a need. The goal serves to drive the plot forward, and the motivation provides the theme of the story. The goal will give an external reward, whereas the motivation will provide internal enjoyment. The goal is short-term and can be completed in a specified amount of time, and the motivation is more long-term and an internal change. Now, when we talk about motivation, there are two elements of motivation. There is the extrinsic or external motivation and intrinsic or internal motivation. The easiest way to understand these for me was a question that was posed to high school students who participated in sports. And they were asked, what is it that got you into sports? Now, some of them said that they wanted to become popular. That is external because the reward is coming from outside of themselves, the respect and admiration of their peers. What some others said is that they love sports because it is challenging and they love the challenge to their bodies and they love doing this. And that is why they signed up for a sports team. That is more internal because the satisfaction comes from within. It wouldn't matter if anybody else had an opinion about it. It's just about them. Another article that I read decided to do away with extrinsic and intrinsic and just call it external and internal. Those are simpler words that we use in our everyday language. So external motivation, the driving force that triggers action toward a goal. And internal motivation is the force that leads you to achieve a goal because of personal desire or satisfaction. And if you think about those with respect to the different kinds of people who signed up for sports at this high school, it becomes easier to understand. There were also some other things that he addressed in some of his other articles that I found to be fascinating stuff. The first one is longing, and this has to do with getting stuck. When a character longs for something but doesn't possess the courage or isn't willing to take the risks associated with achieving that thing that they want. And so they'd rather stay stuck in the place where they are and just admire it from afar or continue saying that they want it but not doing anything for it. It's a great place to find a character at the beginning of a story before the inciting event, to find them stuck and longing for something, and then the inciting event helps them find the courage that they need in order to drive themselves forward. There was also a discussion about sameness, and this had to do with the fact that, generally speaking, human beings want things to remain the same. If you have a good job and you're earning a good salary and food costs a certain amount of money, you would prefer that all those things remain constant because that is where you're comfortable, so that the happy state that you are in continues to be happy rather than making yourself uncomfortable. I encourage you to go ahead and read those articles. I found them to be very enlightening for me and useful in constructing the scenes. We all know, and we've had this experience whenever we've read books that changed our lives, that the most compelling stories are the stories that place us in the shoes of a character, asking ourselves what we would do if we were in their place, and challenging us to move and to do and to live and be different. So let me know in the comments section which books it is that you have read that changed your life, that made you do something that you didn't think you were capable of doing or that you even wanted to do. Just go ahead and leave those books in the comment section below so I can check them out as well. I'd like my life to be changed. That is all I had for you today. Thank you so much for coming through and spending time watching this video. If you found any of this information useful, please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. And if you have not yet subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. And don't forget to click the bell icon so that every time I upload a new video, you get a notification. And if you were unable to attend Monday morning's write-in this week, there's another one coming next week at 9:30 in the morning. I will see you there. I will also have one more video up for you this week. Take care of yourselves, keep warm if you're in areas of the cold snap, and I will talk to you all later in the next video. Bye!